Hi and welcome to my chess channel on YouTube. Thank you for visiting. Here is a match game that I've just noticed the score sheet was written not by me but printed out as the next Wednesday evening. So this is round 2 of the club championships for at the Canterbury Chess Club for me, round 2. So last week I brought you a game that I lost, and even though I was offered a draw, but I'm not going to keep on going on about it. I'm trying not to. But anyway, here is this game. I'm black, so I'm going to flip the board, and you'll see that it's me playing, and my opponent certainly knows who I am because my opponent may have even got ready for this game. So I might be playing at a disadvantage in that regard. So here is my opponent's game with me of last night, which is meant to be played next week, but how can that be? So I'm going to title this match game was played next week. Okay, e4, e6. Now everyone knows that it's David Weegenaar playing the black pieces, unless someone else is elected to play it. Especially in a match game where we've got an hour and 15 plus 30-second increments per move. So this move, knight d2, where white's moved their knight to d2, is from Tarrasch. It's called the Tarrasch French. And the thing about Tarrasch is he's a very, very good player to analyse and to look at his games. Very, very, very good chess player. Very feisty and vibrant with particularly that of his pawns and that sort of thing. So this is quite normal for white to move this knight twice in the opening. And now I play knight e4, so I've moved this twice. Before I've moved my knight, bishop, queen out. Castles, knight d7. Now I could play my knight to c6, but I don't really like its life much. Here I can at least support my sort of position on e4 with this other knight. And I may even elect, if a knight jumps into e5 or bishop, that I might just take it, and that's something usually at an opportune moment. So I could play knight c6, but that doesn't free up my my c pawn if I want to move it to c6 or c5 as well. But this does inhibit, of course, my bishop on d7. So here, as previously mentioned, I could elect to play knight e5, which is, I've found, quite sensible, suitable. It's okay for black. I play here knight d f6, knight g3, bishop e6, f3, knight takes, bishop takes, knight h5. So here I'm attacking white's bad bishop. I'm attacking white's bad dark squared bishop, and I'm also threatening, or not threatening, but I'm wanting to play f4, which I quite like for black here. So my opponent's next move prevents that, and I do believe my opponent played really, really well, and so I'll leave you to be the judge of that, of course. I believe we had a good game. Anyway, f4, so obviously the queen is now pinging my knight on h5, so which is loose. So I could defend it, or I could take this bishop on g3, which, as previously mentioned, then I've got two bishops versus a bishop and knight, and rooks, of course, and queen, king, pawns. But if I take this, then I'm relieving white of their dark squared bishop, and then they can take hg3, and then if they so wish, start to operate on my h file against my king. So I'll bring my knight back to f6, because I've sort of like offered white the opportunity to give me my square back on e4. Bishop h4. Now I do something a little bit odd. I play knight e4 because I don't want to lose the knight for the dark squared bishop of whites, and I don't really want to swap off my good bishop for white's bad bishop, and thereby leave me with just the bishop on e6, which is, as you can see, hampered by pawns on c6 and d5 alike, and so they're just sort of it's hard to get the bishop to go anywhere. So knight e4, bishop e7, we swap off the dark squared bishops. Here I all of a sudden start thinking about I'll plant my queen to h4, because this isn't going to look good if I allow white to play next move rook h3. Then I'm not going to be able to plant my queen there, am I? So I plant my queen to h4. Okay. Now, if you looked at this position right here and now, you would not say that. You would probably say white stands better, and guess what? I would agree. I believe that white stands better here without looking at it on the computer. Obviously, if rook h3, then I can either play queen f2 and queen d4, which is queen f2 is check, of course, and queen d4. It's a little bit more messy, and then I would be threatening knight f2 check, and picking up the queen or rook or king, but white would be able to play bishop e4 after queen d4, and I could either play queen e4 or queen d1 and de4 and that sort of thing. So anyway, this primarily prevents white from playing rook h3 because queen f4 could probably take the rook on h3, but I don't want to. Okay, so here we have, so what I'm saying is, I will reiterate, I'm actually not what I consider in a good position here. I think that the danger is that I might even be looking at having a draw. So rook f6, and same thing, if rook h3, then queen f4, rook f1 from a1 to. Now white could play rook h6, of course, queen h6. So rook f3 from f1, rook f8. Now I consider this a wee bit of a mistake. I think I should have just gone straight away to the c file, as I sort of lose a tempi at least, or whatever it's called, tempo or tempi or something like that. c3. Now white's bolstering up their pawns so they can possibly move this knight away, but they can't yet because of queen d4 check. But I'm not saying that white's planning to do that, but they play c3 and I play c5 as previously promised. Bishop b5, and I take this so that if a knight happens to just fork my queen and rook, I can go queen takes pawn check and then move my rook or whatever I do after that. So if this knight moves, say for instance there's no bishop here and they move knight d7, simply just queen takes d4 and then analyze what to do next. So anyway, a6. So if bishop here, it's a mistake because it loses at least a pawn and it's their better bishop. Bishop a4. bishop f7. Just really nothing at all, because obviously knight d7 fails to queen d4 check. Rook h6, queen h6, queen e3. So white wants to play rook h3, quietly making their position a bit better. b5. So here white could play rook h3, but they play bishop b3. I play bishop e6, because of course if I don't watch this, is going to be damaging to my position. Now here at bishop a4, I did think possible black might be met with rook knight f7, and then I have to take the bishop, of course, I mean the knight, sorry, with the bishop still there. I then have to take the bishop, the knight, I'm still going there. I still have to take the knight with my rook, and then I have to defend this d5 pawn once white plays back to b3 more than likely. So bishop b3, so I play bishop e6. So maybe knight f7 was better, but maybe it wasn't any good either, because it still looks good for white as far as I'm concerned. Now this is actually looks good, queen rook h3, but it's sort of like I'm starting to think I'm going to start looking centrally, and also I've got this open rook file on the c file is completely open. Queen e2. Now I just play rook threatening check, and it probably is a threat, because it just ties white up. So here comes queen e3, so I cannot play rook c1 of course now, so my opponent's sort of deflecting my inaccurate sort of like moves. So I play queen e7, because I say, well, I've got this knight established on e4. More or less there are two pieces that would possibly take it in the future, but in the meantime I've got ideas of coming into the queen side, which is where I'm meant to be in the French, not on the king side. So here I'm thinking of coming into the queen side with my queen and cause trouble in white's position. So rook f3 comes about, so white's sort of wasting time here. Queen b4. Now what happens if here I wanted my opponent to play a3? What would happen? It's very simple, but it's also cute and nice to see it. So what would happen if a3? Because I lit up a wee bit, because I thought, oh, I hope my opponent plays a3. It's not very deep, but it's just nice. And so if a3 here, okay, so if you don't want to see what it is, here it is here, okay? Queen takes knight, bishop. Queen takes bishop. Now white could play queen takes here, possibly, but then I would just play queen here, check. So I don't want to mess up. So here, after queen takes queen for white, because if queen takes knight for white, then I go queen d1 check, rook f1, or king f2. But if rook f1, then just queen takes rook check, and then pawn takes queen next move, either pawn, depending, I don't know. So after queen e4, queen d1 check, king f2, I would just play pawn takes queen, of course, either one. So that would not do. So anyway, queen b3. Now if you look, it's quite simple. Queen b3 for white now is met with rook c1 check. This rook to c1 check. And then the only thing really is rook f1, and then rook f1 takes with check, king takes rook on f1, and knight d2 check, and knight takes the queen, leaving white a piece down. So rook f1, and my opponent, I think we'll just say, I won't mention who my opponent is because I haven't asked permission, but here I play h6. Maybe an odd move, maybe I shouldn't do it. I'm sort of waiting. I can probably play what I played next move anyway, but I played h6 just to give my king a luft. h3. We're copying each other. And look at this, we've got almost symmetrical position here, haven't we? Except for this bishop. This is the queen, of course. So here I got a5. Now I'm threatening a4 and queen b2 or similar. a3, I play queen d2. Now white cannot take, of course, because I'm going to win at least an exchange here to this. So as you would appreciate, black's attacking the rook, black's attacking the bishop, and so it's the only way to defend the bishop or to do something about it is rook here, but that would result in just knight takes rook check and so on. Rook e1. So it's sort of a wee bit of a cheaty sort of a thing to get here. Now if I was able to play this move, I would, but I can't, because if I play this move, it's just a loss for black, because black would be met with queen takes queen. Just basic analysis, but it's very, very good to look at some basic stuff. Knight takes, rook takes, because white would be still defending the rook on the whatever it was. So knight b3 happens, but it's really, really better for white, of course. This is a lost position, probably just here, but also here is probably more safe. And even if you want to, knight back here and then hit the knight or whatever you do. This, I don't know. So here the queen's still defending the rook, of course, but otherwise it would be possible to play rook c1. I play queen b2, of course. I see a pawn, pick it up, put it in my coffee cup, as William Hartston or Simon Webb said in their books. Bishop d1. Now I have rook c3. Now this looks quite menacing, although white can play queen e2, which is really the only move here. Queen e2, bishop e2, attacking this b5 pawn. So here is a point in the game I actually spent some time on, because I thought, well, do I take this a pawn, and have my b pawn taken, or do I do something else? I could play knight here. So I play rook e3. So the bishop is now pinned, of course, to the rook on e1. King f1, so that releases the pin. So I haven't got the pin anymore. So now I think, shall I play b4? Shall I play knight c3? Which I thought knight c3 is a wee bit messy. Or shall I go back to the original thought of rook a3? Or shall I play knight g3 check? So all these are probably okay, but I chose to bolster up here. Knight d6 and rook c1. Now I can close this off, and I'm still threatening the a pawn with my rook. So bishop d3, very sad move my opponent played here. So I played knight e5, and really a bit of a shame really, because really probably this should have been a draw, although I did win a pawn. So bishop b5, knight c4, a4, rook e4, rook e1, rook f4, king g1, rook e4, resignation from white. Very, very good game. I think even my loss last week was a good game. So that's all for me today on my YouTube chess channel. I hope you enjoyed it, and so thank you very much for visiting it. See you next time on The Muppet Show. That's David Weegenaar, over and out.